The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
If you've ever yelled guns up to a random stranger wearing a Double T, you've come to the right place. Red Raider Sports lives on Double T 97.3.
6:31 this morning here on the Morning Drive. A number of years ago, I did that in Cancun in the airport. It's probably not a good thing to do. But he was a fellow Red Raider. He understood.
Good.
He understood. The people.
Also saying hello to your friend Jack could end badly.
Okay.
Well, how would you say hello to your friend Jack?
Hi, Jack.
That would end badly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a pretty sharp pencil Jeff's got out this morning early.
Sure is, because I was just going to go, hello, Jack.
Man, did you see, and I just saw it once. I didn't go back and just, slow-mo it, but the paratrooper that landed at the Arizona baseball game the other night.
Yeah, it took a little spill.
Oh, my God. A little more than a little spill. He had a hard landing during their pregame ceremony. There were two paratroopers that were bringing in the game ball, part of Military Appreciation Night at High Corbett Field. And apparently he dislocated his shoulder. One did. The other one injured his back. The university said the crew reported that the winds were not beyond their standards at the time of the jump. The Tucson Fire Department responded and took him to the hospital for medical attention. A dislocated shoulder and an injured back. Boy, both those two things you don't necessarily want.
Yeah, did you see the report that both were wearing slides?
I did not. Were they? That'll get you injured every time.
Every time.
Every time. By the way, one pair has been donated to the 12-year-old, to the young phenom.
Oh yeah, let's make him trip up.
Well, no, I mean he's got more dexterity and his feet are longer, so he'll be fine. His mother requested him, so there you go. It's not my fault.
It's good.
Yeah, I'm done with that. I was sworn off the slides, Jamie.
I mean, we tried to talk you out of it years ago.
I know.
You should listen to the Morning Drive.
I should.
You should listen to us.
I should. I'd be better off today for it. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you make of Tennessee's quarterback, Nico Lamaleva, who basically said he wanted more money because now he saw everybody else getting more money, and he wasn't going to play or practice. It was like a holdout. He was like a holdout, even though he had been paid for his redshirt year. He had been paid last year. He was reportedly an $8 million recruit, 5-star quarterback from California, who basically tried to go on strike, and Tennessee said, we're done. Josh Heupel said, nobody's bigger than the team, which I appreciate. Finally, somebody standing up to somebody and saying, you can take your talents and go elsewhere.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, first off, I'm not surprised by any of it because, I mean, we've kind of turned it into professional sports, and those are the kind of things that are going on. If you think that this is the first time it's gone on, you're lying to yourself.
You're naive,
Yes. Okay. I've heard the exact same story with players here. Okay, at Texas Tech. Okay, and over the years with our men's basketball program. So within the last 4 or 5 years. So it's going on, and great for Tennessee that they had the guts to stick up to this kid. Great for Josh Heupel, and first off, his numbers last year weren't just amazing, especially against real teams. His numbers against real teams weren't really good at all. And so he may be very talented, but sooner or later Yeah, I don't know. I'm super proud of Josh Heupel and the University of Tennessee for making a stand. You would also think that if he's doing this, he's probably not the best teammate to begin with. Mm-hmm. Right? And
he's your quarterback. He's supposed to be the leader of your team.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If you're Tennessee and you give in to this guy, well, what are the rest of the guys going to do at Tennessee?
Mm-hmm. They're going to make their own demands.
Yeah, me too.
One Power 4 general manager says, good for Tennessee for putting its foot down. Statement said a Power 4 director of player personnel.
I mean, they didn't just do this for the University of Tennessee. They did this for all of college football.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the problem is somebody else will sign him.
Mm-hmm.
The hope, or at least my hope, is that he's signed for much less.
Yeah, that he cost himself some money. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there'll be some school that'll do it. That'll probably pay him more.
Mm-hmm.
Or pay him what he was getting. And so he won't suffer any consequence to it.
But I think
it's win at all cost.
I think the big thing though is what you said is that he'll end up signing with somebody for less.
We'll see.
But hey, at least somebody put their foot down and said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Okay. One other transfer portal person for Texas Tech basketball we told you about, Kevin Overton. Emily Yalaho is also in the portal too. Mm-hmm. So probably not a big surprise there. I kind of hate losing Kevin Overton.
Yeah, no, don't love losing any of them that have been here for a year. Yeah, you want to kind of see them stick around, and I thought Kevin was good off the bench. And,
role player for you, but maybe
he probably sees the writing on the wall of all the players that you're bringing in front of him. Yeah.
Sure. And he'd like to have a little bit more of a role, right?
He'd like to play. Yeah.
He'd like to have a little bit more of a role.
I wouldn't guess this is about money. I would guess this is about playing time.
Marquise, why are you always against the kids? Always amazes me. Marquise, you want somebody making that kind of demand who has already made an agreement and already said this is what he was going to do and this is what he was going to get? I'm not always against the kids. I'm against that kid for making that kind of demand and putting his team and his coach in that position, almost to the end of spring practice where they're getting ready for their orange-white game or whatever, and, they had one practice and he just no-shows them. So, okay. So if that puts me against him, then so be it. But I'm not always against the kids, and neither is Jamie and neither is Jeff. We're not always against the kids.
I'm against bad teammates.
Yeah.
I'm against entitled people. So that particular kid kind of feels like he fits the bill.
We will have the High School Fan Zone on the air tonight. Coaches from Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock, and Monterey. And then we'll also have Red Raider Baseball with Tim Tadlock on the air tonight. That'll be from 6 until 7. Head coach will talk about the weekend series win over the Baylor Bears and the upcoming series with Arizona State as Texas Tech will face them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Phoenix Municipal Stadium there in Tempe.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
2025 with this day in sports history. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Starting us off in 1910, we're going to see how good Chuck is, because he previewed this on Friday.
Okay.
This very specific event that happened for the first time in 1910.
Okay. What sport?
Baseball.
Oh, this is the first pitch was thrown out by William Howard Taft for the very first time at a Washington Senators baseball game.
Very good. 2010, U.S. President William Howard Taft begins the tradition of throwing out. I'd say 1810.
You said 20.
You said 2010.
Well, he was alive and kicking then. Apparently not. First time on opening day. So well done.
Good for him.
1964. LA Dodgers future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Sandy Koufax throws his 9th complete game without allowing a walk in a 4-0 opening day win over the St. Louis Cardinals. Fast forward to 1995. Clint Bryant extends his hit streak to 28 games with 2 singles, a triple, and a homer as Texas Tech beats Texas 26-17.
Goodness. That was the live bat era there.
Wow.
I would hope so. Or the wind was, 80 miles an hour
Could
out.
have been, but it still was a pretty active bat then.
Dead pitcher era.
Yes.
1996. You may remember this at Augusta National as Nick Faldo winning his third green jacket of his 6 major titles. Or you may remember it as the Greg Norman collapse at the Masters in 1996.
Almost had one of those yesterday, too. Did have one of those yesterday for Ludwig Oberg. Man, everybody's got a different pronunciation on it.
He's not helping. We asked him. He's not helping.
Right. Oberg is what
he had the
Jim Nance
opportunity
said
to fix us
yesterday.
all for the day one, and he chose not to.
Yeah.
2023. 21st ranked Texas Tech defeats Oklahoma 13-7. I'm going to say that score again. 13-7 in 10 innings.
6-spot.
The Red Raiders put on a show in extra innings, scoring 7 runs, turn a convincing Big 12 road win. It is National Pecan Day.
You guys can have all of mine.
Okay. All right.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, 48. Baker Mayfield is 30. Peter Capaldi is 67. Anthony Michael Hall, 57. Brad Garrett, 65. Greg Maddox, 59. David Justice, 59. Brad Osmus is 56. And on this day, in 1865, President Abraham Lincoln is shot in the head at Ford Theater in Washington, D.C. The assassin, actor John Wilkes Booth, shouted, "Sic semper tyrannis," ever thus a tyrant. The South is avenged, as he jumped onto the stage and fled on horseback. Lincoln would die the next morning. And that is This Day in Sports History.
This Day in Sports History, 6:48 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Okay. I learned something yesterday. You guys may or may not remember the golfer Bernhard Langer. Do you remember him?
I remember his name.
Okay. He is a German golfer who won a couple of Masters and did extremely well in the senior tour, et cetera, et cetera. But they had an extended feature on him yesterday before the golf tournament. And one thing that I learned about him that I did not know is that, growing up in Germany in that time, his parents were extremely poor and had to scrape things together. His dad was a German soldier and was captured by the Russians just before the end of World War II. And as a result, he was on a train to Siberia, and Bernhard Langer's dad jumped from the train, avoided being shot, and was able to make his way back to Germany and survive, where he met his wife, and then they subsequently had children, including Bernhard Langer.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought that was very interesting. 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Boy, I was rooting for old Louis yesterday. I even called him Louis as I was watching the golf tournament. I went, "Come on, Louis. Come on."
Old Louis.
Ludwig Oberg, who at one point in time was in a three-way tie for the lead, but just could not. It took him a while to get off the green on 18. He triple bogeyed 18. He had already kind of missed his opportunity at that point in time. But man, what a golf tournament yesterday with the Masters. I had 3 guys I was rooting for. I was rooting for Rory McIlroy because I wanted to see him get the Grand Slam to join the 5 others that included Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods and Gary Player and Gene Sarazen, and I wanted him to be a part of that group. I was also rooting for Justin Rose, just because I'd picked him upon further review, and then the guy that I wanted to win, if Rory didn't win, was Ludwig, and he put on a pretty good show yesterday. He ends up finishing in 7th place, and it's because of what happened to him on 17 and 18. He was tied for the lead at 10 under, and went to 17 and bogeyed 17 and then triple bogeyed 18. Unfortunately, he looked like any of us on 18. Hit it in the sand, hit it out of the sand, hit it on the other side of the green, then he hit it on the other side of the green. It looked like Army golf. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And finally got it in the cup, but it was an expensive hole for him, but man, he was close again. He is going to win a major, and it's only a matter of time. He's just 25 years old. Somebody says I was rooting for the whole leaderboard. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that to a degree.
Well, it's good you had a lot of guys up there.
And here's the thing I was thinking about yesterday, because there was a point in time in my life where I spent a lot of time watching golf, and I could, like a lot of us, when you're watching various sports or various teams, things just by the nature of their swing or the way that they walked or the way that they carried themselves, think, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And I'd kind of lost all that because I got away from it. But, I think having Oberg back, on TV and forefront and being successful and it's kind of drawn me back in. So some of these guys I'm starting to get to be a little more familiar with than others. Although, unfortunately, I can't pick 3 of them out of a lineup.
So, full disclosure, David Collier this morning sent us some little trick. And it was 6 faces.
6 faces.
6 faces.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the heads.
Just the heads.
So you couldn't see a hat or what they were wearing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, ask Chuck if he can name which 3 of these guys were golfers who participated in the Masters this weekend.
Yeah.
There were 6 guys. 6 heads, 6 floating heads.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I got one of them right.
Chuck picked one guy. I have no idea who he was.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a golfer.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 that he chose were Mac Hewer and Lucas Perko, who pitched on Friday and Saturday for the Red Raiders.
Full disclosure.
You brought it up, man. I wasn't going to bring it up.
No. It's all good. It's all good.
I couldn't have told you who the 3 golfers were,
but
I could have told you who the 3 Red Raider pitchers were.
Yeah, but I guess just for me more than anything else, I really enjoyed the golf tournament yesterday. It was awesome golf, and Roy McIlroy won it in the playoff over Justin Rose. But man, it was compelling all day long, and still pretty good for Ludwig Oberg, who picked up $703,000, but that 18th hole was expensive. A couple $100,000 is probably what it cost him.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. We'll hear from Red Raider baseball coach Tim Tadlock tonight on Red Raider Baseball with Tim Tadlock. That'll be from 6 until 7. Red Raiders take 2 of 3 from Baylor over the weekend. What's the thing that stood out to you the most? Was it the stick-to-itiveness? Was it the coming back from deficits and the not give up? Was that the thing that kind of you come away with?
Coach Tadlock was asked in the press conference on Thursday when he had a little meeting with the media. He was asked a couple different questions that had to do with a few different things. One of them was about, the mental toughness of how you come back from deficits and how you handle it. And Coach Tadlock said, I'm paraphrasing here, but something to the effect of, he sees at times the look of, here we go again, right? Mm-hmm. And another question was asked about, how important the series is, because basically you guys are both tied in the standings. And Coach's response to that was, typical of Coach Tadlock. He talked about, man, they're all important. Everyone. I don't care if you're playing the first place team or the last place team. They're all important, and they should be important, because every time you go out on the field, you represent not only yourself, but you represent every person that's associated with you, from your parents to your former coaches to your teammates to your school, yourself, all the above. And so you should do the best you can to represent those people. Mm-hmm. And I just think that his team showed some of mental toughness this weekend. They showed some ability to bounce back after you had those here we go again moments. Okay. You trailed 2-0 on Friday in the second inning. You immediately came back with a run to get yourself back into the game, right? Not that you were out of it at 2-0, but at least reclaim a little momentum. And then you hung around. You played good baseball, got some breaks finally in the seventh inning, and you're able to put up 4 there. You put up 4 more in the eighth, and you win that game Friday 9-2. And it was, I thought, as complete of a game as we've seen all season long. And when you gave up the 2 spot, you still had runners at first and third with nobody out, with 2 runs in. Tracer Lopez made a terrific play to keep a ball in the infield and keep the runner from third from scoring. Then you got a break on a catcher's interference there on a strike him out, throw him out attempt. And so it was a double play, and it got you out of that inning. But Mac Hewer didn't lose, just didn't lose focus. He stayed strong there. He battled through, and he limited the damage. And we haven't been able to say that about Mac or the rest of the staff very often this season. Well, I shouldn't say very often, but we haven't been able to say it lots of times, okay? They were able to limit the damage, and that kept you in that game. And so it was just 2, and it wasn't 4 or 5. It didn't feel like a mountain you couldn't climb, and ultimately you win that game. So you move on to Saturday, and you give up 6 right off the bat, and you get punched in the gut, and you never really got into that game. And so going into Sunday, as I'm sitting there waiting on the game yesterday, it felt like, just being honest, and maybe this is just me being a little bit of, battered color man syndrome here for a rough season. Mm-hmm. It felt like, as I'm sitting there on Sunday, that Baylor had all the momentum. It almost felt like Baylor had already won the series, even though they hadn't, because they pounded you so bad on Saturday, everything was forgotten about how good you were on Friday.
And you were starting, TBA, you'd adjusted your pitching lineup, and you got cream for that on Saturday.
Well, I didn't feel bad about Lucas Perko. He had thrown really well the last 2 times out, and so I that was the guy I was hoping that they would start, and they elected to start him, and it didn't go well. It did not go well. You give up 2 in the first, and again, one of those runs on a crazy 2 errors on the same play. Like the effort that you saw from Villeneuve, but really not a sound decision, and also not a good throw that gave up a run. And so they had a little league home run on a double. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that, just right off the bat, just a kick in the gut. Right. And then you come back the next inning and they put up 3, and you're like, it is 5-0, and we are halfway through the second. 6 runs behind yesterday to start the game. 5 runs again today. When is this madness going to stop? And again, I just feel like you get a rally going in the bottom of the second. The Villeneuve starts, and others kind of pile on. And you only got 3 back. You should have gotten more back. You still really struggled yesterday hitting with runners in scoring position. And You get 3 back, but you feel like, okay, you got yourself back into the game. We don't have to feel like we're out of this game innings 1 or 2 through 9 like you did yesterday or on Saturday. And so I thought that was huge. I thought that bottom of the second was huge, just to give you a chance. And then in the next inning, you tie it with Villeneuve's 2-run homer. And then it was a game. So I think what sticks out to me, people have asked me, I've probably been asked this question 3 or 4 times. Do you think Tadlock's lost a team? Do you think this team has given up on this coaching staff? And I always answered, no, I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think a big part of the problem is that you're not as talented as you usually are. And you're not as talented as other teams that you're facing at times, okay? I've told you before, I still think the team is better than they've been playing, and I feel like there is some talent there. I just don't know that there's the depth, okay? And right now, missing TJ Pompey and Kyler Thompson in this lineup is huge, okay? It's really big. So that's really disappointing, and hopefully those guys will be back soon, sooner rather than later, but because you desperately need them. You just don't have as much length to your lineup as you once did. But, it's great to see Antonelli Salvatore. You're basically in a situation, even though he's a left-handed hitter and you're facing all these lefties this weekend, where you're just going to stick with him at the DH spot, and he came through for you over and over and over again. It was great to see. Love to see it. And so I'm sure he's earned himself some more opportunities. And that's great to see. But it just felt like guys... I think Zach Crotchfeld's performance yesterday, he came in and just calmed the waters for 2 innings and hung 2 zeros. I thought that was massive in yesterday's game. So I guess to answer your question, I know that was extremely long-winded. I apologize.
That's right.
Was just that Coach Tadlock had to feel good about the fact that his team answered those questions about, is this team giving up? Is this team playing hard? Is this team, do they care? Is this team mentally tough enough to...
They want to play more baseball.
To fight back after trailing early on, okay? Clearly there's flaws with this team. This series didn't change the year for the Red Raiders, okay? It was a series win. That's good, right? Mm-hmm. They showed some life. They showed some fight. Does it suddenly propel you into, okay, well, now you're in contention for the Big 12 championship? No. Is it a big RPI boost, and are you sitting here today going, all right, now we got a shot? No, okay? But it showed life. It showed fight. If you need a ton more of this if you're going to play in the NCAA tournament, but it was a team that showed some fight yesterday, and it is disappointing that we are at a point where we're talking about those things and not just playing baseball. This guy crushed it. This guy was awesome on the mound. But, I mean, the team showed some fight yesterday. I was a fan of that. I think that kind of shows a little bit about their character.
Yeah. All right, 7:24. If you have a reaction to that, and maybe, Jamie, I don't want to overplay this, but I don't want to downplay it either. But the fact that Mac Ewer was able to go 6 innings on Friday night, that really kind of set the tone for you, because it allowed...
I think struggling on Friday night's a huge problem. It's been a huge problem for this team. Mm-hmm. Just put you behind the 8 ball. So, yes, it was big for Ewer to be good. And
then you were able to use Siebert for just a couple innings, then you were able to bring him back on Sunday, and obviously he pitched well in both the bookend wins there for the Red Raiders.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, so it's something that we just briefly touched on a little bit earlier, which I think our texter brought up a really good point about, and we're going to talk Red Raider men's basketball here. And with what you have seen so far, what do you think you are missing at this point? Is it a big man? Is it a point guard? If you have the choice, what are you going after?
Well,
it kind of feels like we don't have to choose, that we can go after all of it.
Do you have somebody to run the show right now? I think that's going to, be willing to give up shots to help distribute the ball and bring it up the floor and get you into your offense and all those kinds of things. Because, we all know when it gets to the tournament, guard play becomes such a huge factor. But I love the big fella inside. But I'll tell you what, I'll go for the big fella inside. And go, hey, I'd like to see some size and a big guy inside to be able to get you offensive rebounds and putbacks and easy points in the paint and all those things if that person is available.
Okay.
See, I was going to go a big guy because I thought Chuck was going point guard.
I thought you were going to go point guard, so I went big fella.
Well, you were going first, so you got you started this mess up. You got to get a point guard.
Yeah,
you have to. It's the quarterback of your basketball team, and without that ability to start the process for your team, it doesn't matter if your big guy's ready to get the ball or not because you can't get it across half court.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to take little bit of a different stance on my answer. I'm with Jeff in that it's a point guard, but I assume you're going to get Federico back.
Yeah, probably so.
All right, so I guess I feel like I do feel like you need way more depth than what you have inside.
Mm-hmm.
But Toppin obviously can play the 5 or the 4, and we saw that this year. But I still assume you're going to have Federico back. I'd like to add at least one more big, but I think it's the point guard. I just feel like I think you had a great one last year. He did a terrific job of running the show and gave you a little more offense than I expected out of him. I thought his shot selection was pretty good for the most part. Every once in a while, I would one of his step back threes would make me say, maybe not. Let's run the offense a little bit more. But I'm a guy who loves pass first point guards. I love players that make other players better. And you had that at the point guard position this year. And with Hawkins, and I want give me some more of that.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to be said for that. Obviously with Hawkins leaving, I'm curious. I'm curious about Jazz Henderson and what he could provide for you. I mean, he was injured all season long this past year. He averaged in high school 14 a game, 7 assists as a senior, 10 and 7 as a junior. I'm not saying he could come in and be the starting point guard for you, or even start for you, but I'm curious about what kind of minutes he can provide this next year. This from the chat line. While you want to get a point guard, Christian Anderson is more than capable to run the offense. This person says, but we will get the Delaware point guard who is on campus now visiting and canceled his Gonzaga visit. Okay.
Sounds like that would. I mean, I feel like now we get anybody on campus, they're
not going anywhere.
We've got them, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. I don't mean to downplay it a little bit, but
that's been true for a while too. We just had a lot easier time now getting them here.
Yeah, I don't want Christian Anderson running the point. Well, I think he can be a combo guard for you, and I think he can run it at times, just like Chance McMillan did last year for you at the beginning of the season when Hawkins was hurt. I want him on the wing, being able to score, to shoot, and to drive. I'm not wanting him to be a facilitator as much. I mean, I know that's part of his game, but I want him. I don't want to take away his ability to score.
Isn't it? I don't know. It's an interesting team, and maybe these guys have used this year as a year of development because, I mean, what was the recruitment like for the Delaware guard coming out of high school, or what was the recruitment like for the guy that's coming here from Washington State by way of Eastern Washington? The guy from UNC Greensboro. I guess I guess basically they use that year to really, whether it's either bulk up, get some strength, hone their skills, get used to playing Division I basketball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're ready for an elevation from AA or AAA to the big leagues, I guess is what it's coming down to.
Yeah,
because it's going on everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, players develop, right?
Mm-hmm.
They come to college,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
they get better. I think that happens in any sport.
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean I guess it's interesting to me because this is what people were clamoring about during the NCAA tournament, that this is it's going to be the downfall of the tournament because these mid-majors aren't going to be able to hang on to their kids, and you won't see the teams that have 5, 6, 7 players that have been playing together since they were freshmen. Just not going to be. It's not going to be that way anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, every coach, I know you want them to wear a shirt and tie and a jacket. Mm-hmm. Maybe they should basically just get like a lab coat because they're all chemists at this point. I mean, a coach's job is mixing together, these different parts each and every year, right? Mm-hmm. They're not molding together over 3 or 4 years. You're just each and every year you're pouring them into the little beaker there, and you're turning on your Bunsen burner, and you're hoping that it doesn't explode.
Yeah.
And Grant McCaslin has shown that he can do that.
Yeah. But now somebody else says this. We canceled the Delaware kid. He did not come to town. Okay.
Canceled him.
Okay, canceled him.
Canceled.
But you're right. If I probably would.
He must have said something wrong. We canceled him.
I would strongly encourage Coach McCaslin to wear a coat and tie. I wish they would wear a coat and tie on the sideline. It would just.
I do not. I'm a big fan of the way it is now.
Okay, I like how it looks there on the sideline, but I'm in the minority on that. I think
way in the minority.
Yeah, minority.
Yeah, you're the only person I've heard that kind of likes that.
I do like that. I do like how that looks on the sideline.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today on the Morning Drive, we come to you from the First United Bank studio. Look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Good morning. I feel like I'm looking for Where is Waldo today with the 2 shirts that you all have on. They are kind of similar.
They are similar. On TV, they look identical.
Do they? Okay.
Like the stripes are different, but the colors look the same. Okay. It's a little weird.
They're both black and gray.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we did not call each other last night and to be matchy-matchy.
Well, the thing is that Chuck is wearing Under Armour.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I have a pretty healthy amount of Under Armour clothes.
Right.
Jamie is also wearing
Jamie
Under Armour.
always wears Under Armour.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a little bit of a Adidas, but not a great amount. Let's see. This, with regard to baseball, Friday's comeback wasn't as big as Sunday's, but I was glad to see the team's intestinal fortitude in coming back from 5 down early. Keep it going.
Yeah. Agree with that.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Did the girls from basketball get offered any money to stay like the men? I do not know what transpired with regard to the ones that left and why they decided to go. My guess is, my best guess is that there were probably different reasons for each one. That maybe the common denominator is that they wanted to go somewhere where they felt like they could win, and maybe they just didn't feel like they could win here. I mean, even though you showed a little bit of winning there at the end by winning 5 of your last 7. You can talk about the level of competition, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can talk about the 9-game losing streak, the frustration. Clearly they weren't happy with how things went because they've made the changes that they made on the women's basketball staff that they announced this past weekend. That's as big a change as you can make without firing the whole staff.
Correct.
And probably in my 12 years of being around the team, that's the most number of changes that I've seen in an off season without the head coach changing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just for me personally, I mean, it's a staff that I really enjoyed and really respected, and they worked really hard. And I'm sorry to,
but they didn't win.
No, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? Yeah.
And I wish nothing but the best for everybody that was here, and for the Lady Raiders that are currently on the team, and those that have left that played their hardest. They didn't win. Mm-hmm. It's great. Billy Maupin's coming back. I wish Shavers was coming back. Those are great players. They didn't win. Clearing house of your roster to bring in girls that can win at this level would not upset me.
Well,
because they have proven, the group that was here, that they couldn't. I'm not shedding a tear for any of the girls that left, because it's an opportunity for you to fill that roster spot with somebody exponentially better, because they were not winning.
I'll just say this: if you could have given me two of the three to come back, I'd have picked Logan Johnson and Kyla Freelon to come back. I mean, I love what Jazz did for you. Volume shooter, not a volume maker, but I mean, she led you in points. I mean, you're going to struggle to replace those three with equal talent or better three. And it's just going to be hard because of the money that becomes involved in it. So, but it's like you said, it's an opportunity to upgrade. Absolutely. I mean, and we'll see what happens with the coaching staff and how that changes things. But at the end of the day, it's about what the players can do on the floor. And
I hate to be the one to say this, it's a pretty low bar to upgrade. You're not having to go a whole lot higher than where you were with regards to the overall roster. You got a lot of room to improve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do. I mean, you do. All I'm saying is that I enjoyed this group. I enjoyed this staff. I hate that it didn't work. And I know everybody
hate that it didn't work.
I know everybody hates that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, but at the end of the day, also it's a business, and you've got to figure out a way that you're gonna win. Let's see. Syntax Hank says this, Chuck, and I don't know why the light bulb suddenly came on for him. I finally understand your aversion to spring football leagues. It just seems so out of place and makes no sense. Thank you, Syntax Hank. They played so well in the postseason. Seems like they had a ton of momentum. I would agree with that. Seemed like they had some momentum going. No question about it. But you know, they felt like they needed to make some changes.
I don't know if Syntax Hank sits there and watches the games and it's frustrated. It's like, this does not belong here. Why do they have this on my television? Or does he just turn the channel like, I'm good to go, right?
I mean, if there were any football games that went on this weekend, I just was not aware of them. I guess that maybe there were some.
It was also a Masters weekend, so I bet a lot of people weren't aware that it was going on. Non-golf fans watch the Masters.
You would think that these networks wouldn't be putting these games on television unless they had some interest, right? There's an audience for it, right? You and I may not be the audience, and Syntax Hank and Jeff may not be the audience, but otherwise they're not putting it on.
Well, I
right?
guess here's the thing that I look at is that we've had so many spring football leagues fail. Okay, that people felt like that they could work, but then they haven't.
Yeah, and these may fail too. I'm not certain that they're going to last. Again, but I just, my whole point about it is there's a reason that they try to keep doing it. Okay, that they think they can make money off of it. They think they can get viewers off of it. And again, you don't have to watch.
Yeah, no.
So don't let it bother you.
Oh, it's not bothering me at all.
Yeah.
No, it's just no skin off of my tail.
Okay, you watch a lot of WNBA?
No.
Okay, but you never complain about that. You never complain that they have a WNBA.
There probably been times when I complained about the time of the year. I mean, I wish it was at a different time of the year than the summertime.
Okay, we won't get into that. But clearly, you just let that go. Why can't you just let the spring football go?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a rock in my. It's a pebble in my shoe.
Yeah, I
Jamie.
don't understand why.
It's a pebble in my shoe that I just can't.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.